Okay, hi everyone. Hi, dear friends. This is Maestra. Hope you are doing well. And I am with Chris and Maggie because we have a new edition of the book Psychic Self-Defense. And it's like we added some chapters and some parts to it. And we want to, share with you about that and also about the workbook that Chris and Maggie have published and they have been working on and the results we are getting about this work. So
absolutely.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So maybe Maggie, we can start talking about the new chapters and the new parts that we added to the book and why we did it.
That section is for you. I'm going over the old part on how I've been using the old part because it has been so beneficial these last few weeks because the energy is changing so much. I've noticed people are more anxious, a little bit more aggressive, and just generally walking around, I've been feeling things coming at me. And yeah, I can deflect them, which is fine. But we were with some people and we were having to help them to recognize what was coming at them and how to take them out. And a lot of time was spent doing that. But I was amazed at the amount of aggression coming off of people, and it's being accepted as normal now. And that disturbs me a lot. But you know, we were literally walking around a town and energy coming at me, and we had to create a bubble around us so that we could walk in peace and quiet and enjoy it. But whenever we were going into a shop, we projected into the shop the positive energy. So that when we got in there, oh, hello, how are you? And everybody was generally nice and chatty, and we're amazed at how much that is benefiting us when before we go in anywhere, we can just project that happy, nice energy, and then you can see people change, and actually it becomes quite pleasant. But we have to be very careful not to drop into that lower frequency because it's all around.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I did that practice also for, I had an event where I had to show my products and my, my books and things like that. And I was really fearful about going there in a way, not about afraid from negative energies, no, but more like, I don't know if I want to be in I like being myself. I like just, flow. I like to feel the distance around me, to be in spaciousness. And that's how I live, not in crowded places and crowded people. And I had to prepare something for that event. I used the tarot spread that is here, which I put in, we talk about this protective tarot spread. And also, I was able to see where is my limit. How much time can I sustain a protective bubble? And when should I renew it or add in something else or just stop and leave that place? That was really something interesting for me to experience. And the fact that I had this book, by the way, for me to present it. And I had only one copy that was sold, but it was really nice to talk about it at the fair and go into this list, the art of making lists. And our book is also about that. We have lists. We have a list of things that we can do. We have a list of things to remember, because as we are kind of getting around all these waves of news, energies, and things like that, it's really important to be focused and have something to go back to and to remember things. And my clients are finding this book really useful. And I really want to say that because some of them don't know much of the information we shared, they know about, okay, I do prayer and things like that, but prayer for who, for what, about what, where is your energy? What manages your energy? What are the things out there? And many of them say that there is new information about that, about this. And I feel the vibration of this book is kind of like trying to pull from down to up. It's transformative. So talking now, I will get to the sections that we added, and there is one that I really find important to add, and it's about the Watiko. And it came to me through the books and the work of Paul Levy about his work with the Watiko. And then I transposed that work with what I know about the devil and what I have already worked about the devil and its presence and what it is exactly, coming from that culture, you know, Oriental culture or Islamic culture, combining it with the Christian culture and seeing, okay, how can we navigate that? And how can we perceive the devil for its truth, for what it is really, you know? So I wanted to add that to this kit, and also to add some strategies about how to deal with the Watiko or the devil, and how can we navigate this concept to develop our own sovereignty. Also, we forget that we are sovereign too by our thinking and our feelings. We don't have to stay always under influence. And one last part I will add, during my event, I was really surprised to meet many people who use plants to get into a certain state and do some spiritual work. And of course, I respect these practices, but at the same time, I can't not think about it as also being under influence. You know, so there is something about what we can control, when can we observe, do we need always to be under influence something else than us, or the essence of us?
Yeah. I think the fact that you use the tarot is a great idea. And for people who can use it, you plan your day around it. You can set yourself up for that day and see how it goes. And well, you can make sure it goes in the direction you're hoping it will go in. For those who can't use it, or for those who forget to use it before they go out, they have to sort of try and go through the book and remember what you can do at that time. And there are many, many different ways you can use the book to defend yourself, to project and what you want. So if you can plan your day ahead, fantastic. But I'm not too good at that, am I? So for me, I suppose it's always not on defense, because I can create something around me so I can move forward. But people have to learn what works best for them.
Yeah.
And another area we added to the book was one on fractals. The book talks about how to rid yourself of negative influences. And some of these influences are energetic beings. And we couldn't understand how we would find people, ourselves and other people, with these beings in them. We would take them out, and then we'd come back up a few days later or a week later, and they were back again. And yet we were putting up protection. These people were putting up protection. And what the guides told us was that some of these beings have the ability to effectively drop fractal parts of themselves.
Or through a portal.
Or come in through, well, they come in through a portal.
They come in through a portal.
But they can also leave parts of themselves behind.
Yeah.
And these parts, which we call fractals, can actually grow into one of these beings.
Again, as if like, it's a kind of like cloning. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we were told to do is to basically, if we ever have to remove one of these things, we really make sure that we really clean the area afterwards, and make sure there's nothing left behind for it to grow again, because otherwise basically they just come back. And so we thought it important to include a section on that in the book to remind people to do this cleaning, because it's a very important part of the process of removing negative influences.
And we say it also on the prayer. We say in the morning, in the evening, to move all the fractals that are there. Anyway, I added it to my prayer to remove all the fractals and implements safely, because sometimes
protect us from them. Yes.
Yes. It's really interesting also to see. And one of the things I rediscovered the book. You know, we write books and then we reread them and we discover ourselves again. But there's something about approaching the reality of things from different levels, and it's really interesting because I always had events in Montreal and now have an event in Europe. I'm seeing the difference of perception of people. Some people perceive things with their emotions, others with their mind, plan in mind, others with spiritual side. And I like seeing things from these 4 levels. And also the way of perceiving through the eyes, the vision, the third eye, through the energy, through the feelings, through the observation and so on. There are so many different ways of perceiving reality that I think it's important, and that's what the book plays a role in, is to bring different techniques and ways of protecting the integrity of who we are. We are visual. I also see things. You know, I use the vision. We visualization, creative visualization, and projection. But it's not the only way, because sometimes some of our gifts get hacked by other things, you know, get cluttered. So it's important to use different modalities.
Yes, and be open to use them as well.
Yeah.
And be open to seeing what works and what doesn't work, and not being upset if it doesn't work. Okay, well, that didn't work, but let's try this. And you've got the opportunity to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And also the way to do these things, what I found really interesting in this book is there are these 14 ways, and imagining like every day I will use one to see the best one fitting for me, especially for beginners. That would be really interesting. I mean, we know the best things for us because we experienced for some years now, but I will invite people to use them every day. And Chris, you have more to say because you have also written a workbook about this.
Yes, actually, that leads really nicely into the workbook. And if you give me control, I can put up a.
Here we go.
So I have on the host and share screen. Okay. So we wrote this workbook because we felt that it's very hard, if you're on this evolution path, it's very hard to know how to help yourself along all the time. And so we basically wanted to do something about this and give you a tool to help you through the various stages. We're very passionate at the moment because we've reached a point in our evolution where the world, I think, is about to take a leap forward in evolution. And we would like everybody to be part of this. And part of it is being aware that this is going on and being aware that we've reached a point where action is required and where decisions are required. And it's no longer good enough to sit on the fence and say, oh, well, we'll see what happens and we'll just follow along. And there's so much influence out there at the moment and so much distortion. We have to start taking action to see through the distortion and to see what's really going on. And what our workbook does, it guides you through the questions you need to ask yourself. And my question to you is, are you ready to embark on this journey?
Mm-hmm.
We've divided the workbook into 5 sections. The first one is looking at finding your life's purpose. Unless you know really what you're here for, it's very difficult to make sure you're on the right path. But there are lots of things influencing you. And the next section is basically looking at your beliefs and how they're influencing you. Then you ask yourself the question, what negative influences are holding me back? So it's like a process. You examine what's going on, and then you look at what's holding you back. One of the key things at this time, with so much going on, is you really have to take care of yourself. So in this workbook, we basically put a section on things to do to take care of yourself. We provide step-by-step guides to looking at how to help yourself. And we can't do it alone. So the last section of the book is really how to develop your intuition and to use journaling to get more information and help from the guides. So it's a step-by-step approach. The material for this came from our original book, Thriving in the New Vibration. But we felt that even this workbook even works as a standalone thing, because it teaches you the questions to ask. And then if you need more information, you can go back to the other book or the Psychic Defense book. But this provides you it's like having a helper with you all the way on how to do things.
I think people have to realize that not everybody's going to go out and be the best healer in the world, the best speaker in the world. It's going to be more sort of mundane things, I think. And so if you're a chef, being the best chef that you can be. If you're the janitor in the school, be the best janitor that you can be. But whatever you do it the best way you can and be happy in what you're doing. So you're projecting that energy, which is very vibrant. And I think people often underestimate what they're doing because it doesn't seem important to them. And we have to get past that.
Yes. So with this workbook, it asks a series of questions. And there are 2 ways to respond to this. In some cases, you can think about the question and see what's going on in your life and answer the question yourself. And it's important to answer these questions truthfully. So there's a place in the book to write down your answers, and then you can go back and reread it and rethink about it. But there are other sections where we can use something which we call muscle testing or divination using a pendulum or tarot to find answers, because there are ways of finding out what's really going on using these muscle testing and divination type approaches. And anyone can use this approach. You don't need to be particularly psychic. You don't need to have any particular skills. You just go in with an open mind and trust that the answer will find itself. So anyone can use it. We particularly like something we call the sway test, and we teach it, but in virtually all our books, we put it in as a section. And it's a way of using the muscles in your body to find out what's really going on in your subconscious. You have to make sure you're hydrated and fully grounded, and then you can get your body to answer these questions. You can also use a pendulum if that works for you. They both give yes/no answers, and you can work through a number of easy examples. With the pendulum, you can use little charts to help you, so that, for instance, with the pendulum, you can determine whether the answer is left, right, above or below, or a particular number. So it allows you to get a little bit quicker to the particular answer. But it's whatever works for you. And then answer the question as truthfully as you can. So we start by trying to find your life's purpose. We've all incarnated on this life to find something, to learn something. And with all the chaos in the world today, we need a positive focus. So by knowing what your purpose is, it allows you to concentrate on what is really important. And our life is driven by choices. Everything we do comes down to a choice and making the best choice in a particular situation. So by knowing what your life purpose is, you can make sure that your choices lead you towards your goals and achieving your life plan. But don't forget, life is an exciting adventure, and your choices are part of it. So you really want to make the best choices you can in the situation. One of the things that really can hold you back are your beliefs. So what are my beliefs and how are they influencing me? We look in this section of the book, we ask a series of questions to look at, where did my ideas come from? What do I do that didn't come from me, came from somebody else? Did it come from my school? Did it come from my parents? Did it come from my friends? Are these things supporting me? There's a lot of things we believe are true now are actually turning out not to be true. We've been fed a lot of lies in the past through the education system, through the media and everything else. And it's actually difficult to know what is true. And this is where some of the muscle testing can come in handy and say, is what I'm being told true? And if it's no, then is this part of it true or this part of it true?
Yeah. What is right for me?
What is right for me? And what questions can I ask to get closer to the truth? You really need to be open to ask questions and question everything. Don't just say, well, it's always been that way, so it must be right. Think about it. Is the evidence consistent? Is it being supported by a number of different things? Be open to new ideas and question everything, and then you'll be able to make better choices.
Yeah, I think because you can have friends who are really on a good path, they're going ahead, everything is working out very well for them, and you try and copy them, but that's not your path. And so it's realizing that what's right for this person is not necessarily right for me, and then going back and find out what is my path.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there are actually a lot of negative influences which are affecting you and can hold you back. So in this section of the workbook, we look at what are the possible influences that are affecting you. Are they in your body? Are they in your energy field? And once you've identified them, then you can remove them. And we actually have quite large sections in the Psychic Self-Defense book, and also in Thriving in the New Vibration, which take you through how to remove these various influences. Because you don't have to put up with them. Once you've identified them, they're there, you can remove them. And the workbook helps you identify where they are and what's affecting you. You really need to take care of yourself as well. At the moment, unfortunately, a lot of the food we eat is not very good for us. There's a lot of processed food out there, which looks wonderful, but actually is harmful to the body. We need to make sure that what we're putting into us is actually making us as fit and well as we can be. So we need to take care of our body that way. We also need to exercise, going for walks in nature, things like that. So the workbook gives you a few suggestions on areas that you can improve your life. Look at what chemicals you use around the house. Are they really strictly necessary? Are they harmful to you? Are you currently bombarded with electronic things? Are you surrounded by Wi-Fi and and smart meters and all sorts of radiation, your laptops, your computers. Do you really need to move them around? Can you use things like orgone pyramids to protect you from the radiation? So there's lots of things you can do, and the workbook takes you through taking care of yourself.
Yeah, and also we have to do things which give us pleasure as well. So take time during the day to, it can be lots of things, you know, you like reading, read a book, you like cooking, cook something, you like meditating, do the meditating, but find something which is for you, which you can do and gain pleasure from.
And every day find something to laugh about.
Oh, yes.
Bring laughter into your life as much as you can. Yeah. Maggie can laugh at me all the time. And the last part is, how do I actually contact with my guides if I'm not experienced in this? So what we do in the workbook, we provide you a journaling space. And one of the things we found that's really easy to do is to take yourself off to a comfortable corner where you can be quiet without interruptions, and write at the beginning of the journal, in this particular section, what is it I want to know? What's my question? And then sit down and just, without thinking about it, write whatever comes into your mind. And you'll be surprised how useful some of these answers are and how much insight it gives you into what is going on around that question. And if that one didn't work that well, then try another question and try again. And the more you do this, the more you find help is actually available.
And I think when you initially start doing this, you can get several lines which have absolutely no meaning at all. It is utter gibberish. But the more you do it and connect with the guides, the more information will come through. But not everybody's very good at sitting down and doing that. But you can also meditate when you're walking, when swimming, on the beach, lots of different places. You don't have to be actually sitting down to connect with your guides.
And you can take this little workbook around you, and when you sit down, if anything comes to you, you can just jot it down.
Yeah.
There are spaces in the book to write what is happening and keep a record of the things that are changing in your life. Because what we tend to find is we're making spiritual growth, but we don't recognize it because it's a subtle growth. There's a subtle change here, there's a subtle change over there. And by making a little note in your journal about how you feel today, you notice that gradually, well, I'm feeling better today, and every day seems to be a little bit better. And you notice these things by journaling. So the workbook is a good companion on your journey. So I would recommend getting this workbook. It's quite inexpensive, easy to get, and when you fill that one, you just get another one and keep going. And then, of course, we have the Thriving in the New Vibration book, and particularly at this time, the Psychic Defense book, the new edition, because this gives you the tools to actually deal with the things you're meeting. So thank you very much for listening to me.
That was really interesting. I would love to add something that you just pointed out, which is repetition, because for myself, I published the book like Psychic Self-Defense with you, and I'm finding myself coming back to it. There is this need of keeping them around, because there are workbooks, which means that we work with them all the time, and they remind us, and we have this visual, we are visual as humans, most of us, and we use the computer, and the publicity and the marketing is all based on vision. So it's really important to keep them somewhere where you can see it, or you see these books as a way of reminding you of what you have to remember or what you have to do on daily basis. So
yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
All right. So in that case, I think, Chris, if you can give me back the admin's role so I can, yeah, here we go. Or some, and at the same time, I want to.
Oh,
I stopped you.
Here we go. I activated my sound. There is a project that is going out. I'll probably do another video, and it's called the I Don't Care. Most of you know the I Don't Care 1, and we are getting the I Don't Care 2. And both of them are going to be on Kickstarter very, very, very soon. So I will give you more news about that in the next days. All right. So in that, yeah.
Well, it was
good.
fun chatting with you, and
Yes.
have fun.
Thank you. Oh, so Chris, did you give me the admin role?
I thought I did, but
Not yet. Not yet.
how do I do that?
Well, if you don't know, you can just stop the video from your side.
Okay.
Oh. Well,
Oh, no, it's not that one.
What's
No,
going
not
on?
this one. So you have to click on my name, and
Yeah.
there you can see. Okay, I got it.
you got it. Well,
Awesome. Now I can stop the video. I wish you a very, very nice day and see you soon.
Okay.
okay.